You got your haircut appointment booked yet for the 6th of July? I know I have. So this is another video in the series looking at the ramifications of the Department for Communities advice for home movers during the COVID-19 pandemic. And we've been looking over the last couple of videos at sort of takeaways from that and what the implications have been for conveyancing solicitors in particular and other property professionals in general. What I wanted to do today, we've sort of finished, I think, the takeaways. I can't squeeze it any further. So what I thought I would do is bring you up to date on our experience over the last couple of weeks since the property market reopened, and how we've been getting on with that. And I'd mentioned obviously in the takeaways that we had some challenges and bottlenecks and things like that, and that is certainly true. And there are certainly things which, and I'll talk about that briefly. But generally speaking, things are going pretty well. We had obviously been signing contracts virtually throughout lockdown, but pretty much hadn't been releasing them until we could agree a set of coronavirus special conditions. Now that the Law Society has published a set, and those seem so far to be largely agreed. We have had a couple of instances where sellers in particular have simply refused to accept the coronavirus special conditions. That is disappointing because that is very much against the guidance, which is that flexibility is key. I think in one of those cases it may have been a retired property professional was the seller, and I think it'd be fair to say that they were old school, but it does leave our purchaser with a very difficult decision to make. Do they essentially sign up to an unconditional contract when we're advising them not to, it must be said, because we simply don't know if there is going to be some sort of a coronavirus event over the next couple of weeks. It's quite a long completion date until the end of July, so we don't know really what's going to happen over the next 8 weeks, and therefore it really does make it very difficult. And as I say, the client has a very difficult decision to make. Largely, however, the special conditions have been accepted pretty much across the board, which is obviously a good thing. I suppose the other things I talked about were bottlenecks in the process, with offices opening at different pace and to different extents. We've had a couple of issues with lenders, as I had thought we would have probably had a couple of issues with lenders. The issues we've actually got are slightly different. I've spoken before about the certificate of title that has been agreed between Law Society of Northern Ireland and UK Finance, and the need for that to be pretty much set down so that the solicitor's obligations, and particularly the extent of their obligations, are codified and can't be exceeded. We have submitted the certificates of title in a couple of cases, and the lenders have come back and asked us to sign up, or at least confirm some sort of additional COVID conditions. They want us to confirm that the property move is within the regulations and things like that. That's not something that I think we as solicitors should be asked to look at. That is ultimately, I feel, a decision for our client. The government guidance is fairly clear on how and when you should be moving house, and certainly over the last couple of weeks, and that has been a much easier thought process to navigate your way through. So as I say, I think the lender's underwriting department in those cases has been a bit excessive in what they're asking the solicitor to do, and they are actually delaying release of mortgage advances until we have cobbled together something which we feel is, I was going to say woolly, all-encompassing enough and non-specific enough to protect us while giving them the comfort for which they shouldn't be asking from their solicitors. So as I say, other than that, now we have 4 completions tomorrow, and we've only received 1 set of mortgage advances, so there seems to be some bottlenecks in the lenders actually getting funds to us. The interesting thing, the really sort of striking thing for the last 2 weeks, last week and this week, and actually into next week, is that we have probably in and around 30 completions coming up. So just to sort of break those down a little bit, we did continue to sign contracts through the lockdown. Those were signed virtually, and I've spoken in the other videos about how we're going to hopefully really enhance and transform that experience. In most of those cases, we didn't release the contracts until it was safe to do so, and particularly until we had a set of COVID conditions that everyone was going to agree to. So those contracts, there's a printer going in the background, I apologise. Those contracts have now been released with the COVID conditions. We're now in contract. Everyone is happy enough. They've bought into the flexibility, and those cases are hopefully, as I say, going to complete. With some tomorrow, with a lot more next week. Nearly, I think we've over 15, maybe 20 next week. So that's brilliant. Those things are really starting to wash through. So as I say, the other bottlenecks, those are sort of quietly sorting themselves out. As I said, people are coming back to offices, whether it's solicitors, estate agents, mortgage advisors, lenders, surveyors. They're all coming back at different paces and to different extents. We are expecting sort of humps in the roadway ahead, just to get those things through. But generally speaking, we're actually quite happy with the way things are going. Obviously, as the business owner, I always tend to focus on the pipeline and new cases coming in. So I'm going to shamelessly ask that if you're a property professional and hopefully if you're an estate agent or a mortgage advisor in Northern Ireland, particularly an estate agent, you will probably have seen one of our case updates coming through from our online web app. That is only a tiny fraction of what the functionality of the web app actually entails. And certainly if you are asked to recommend any solicitors, I would be very grateful if you would possibly just bear us in mind, and the clients can make contact with us. They can actually go to our website, they can get an instant fee quotation, and they can instruct us instantly online, and hopefully that will actually reduce a fair bit of the delay and admin, which can sometimes be seen at the start of cases, and the whole sort of practicalities of capturing a client and sort of getting the retainer instructed and getting it accepted. So as I say, I have been catching up with many of my contacts in the property industry, and it's great to speak to them. It's fantastic actually to get the feedback that they are getting our case updates, and it stops them having to ring and ask for updates because they get them before they even have to do that. So it is a time saver as well. So as I say, apologise for the shameless plug. Hopefully I've talked enough and given enough information over the last couple of videos that I am entitled to sort of sell my firm a bit. It is, after all, LinkedIn. So that is actually pretty much for today. Hopefully we'll round off the week tomorrow with some completions. I'm back in the office tomorrow. The bookcase isn't as big in the office. This is the study, and you can tell how absolutely messy my desk is when you don't even get to see the desk today. You see the messy bookcase instead. So thank you, as I keep saying, for your ongoing support and your comments and your feedback and your DMs, and more tomorrow.